think a lot of it, I don't mean to repeat what everyone does, the embracement of AI. I know that's a big thing right now, and I think we're trying to do it as a measured approach where we're actually trying to bring benefit in the use of AI. So I think where we use AI most is to really summarize data. We get a lot of comments. If we take a big trade show like right now, you may get 5,000 open comments on a question. And this can take someone a long time to read through. And I think a lot of the time they'll miss actually the insight from that. By harnessing AI on that, we can quickly understand the meaning behind that data, really categorize their comments and understand really what they're saying about the event. And this really gives the ability to, for users to get action to the insight quickly. Personally, I have a strong view on one-click reporting. It's something I'm a believer in, where we, at the quickest possible moment, we need to get people actionable insight from their data. And that's something we're really working hard on in Explori, whether that's built-in summaries in the platform, or even if you want to present your views, your feedback internally to stakeholders, get into a presentation-ready one-click report is sort of what we're working on. I'm quite excited about that. I would say there's a lot of myths, I think, going around about surveys. And I heard actually in a speech just now that someone said only the good and bad people respond. If you take a look, a bit of background to Explori first before I go on that. We benchmark events. So we have several thousand events that ask, let's say, Net Promoter Score, their satisfaction. If that myth that people only good or bad respond, we would see a big peak in those people giving 0, a big peak in those going 10. And obviously, if you look at our data, that doesn't back up with these myths at all. So I would say use surveys. It gives you a great baseline, understanding details, and it really gives you the place to explore what you need to do further. So if you've got a question, let's say, about your features, you can find out if your features weren't spot on in the survey. And if you understand how do you improve them, you get some top-line data. Use that as the basis to actually understand what you can do further. So I think use it as your baseline. It's very important. And yeah, it's a great starting point for all of your data. One other thing I think is important is the consistency. If you ask NPS across all your events, overall satisfaction, you're able to benchmark your organisation and understand which events are improving, which ones in your portfolio aren't sitting as well. And some recent research that we've done indicates that actually, if you get a higher satisfied score, it does lead to future growth in attendance, future growth in exhibitors. So it is very important to monitor that, and it can help as a predictor for future performance. I would say initially you want to start with your post-event research. I think that's the easiest place. And obviously as an event organiser, that's your main customer touch point of the year. You may do webinars throughout the year, but actually let's start with the main event. The benefit using Explori really is we have simple to use templates. Excuse me. So in a few seconds you can create your survey. You can probably within an hour you can have your survey fully ready to go and distributed, and then you'll get comparable data, a very polished survey, one-click reporting. So I think it's really start as your post-event with placeholder 5 and use that as a basis for any future research requirements. I think it's understanding sort of how across your portfolio of events appear. But when I say event news, I'm talking about the management, those not day-to-day on the actual pure operations of individual event, because obviously there's very different levels in which you can look at the data, which I think is important. And I think really understand how their business is performing overall. As mentioned earlier, we've seen that the scores of Net Promoter Score, overall satisfaction, have a direct influence on the likelihood of return of both the visitors and exhibitors, which we all know has a direct correlation to the revenue of the event. So I think get the consistency right, make it measurable, and actually look into the findings. If you do see an event with your scores declining, it's something you can look into the more granular results and take action to stop that trend going further. Get it early before it becomes, I suppose, an issue for the events themselves. I think the main thing we do is we're very event specialised. Our whole team, our whole company, our infrastructure is based around the event industry. When you go to Explori, your dashboards, your reports, any sort of automatic commentary, any sort of automatic general insight, we're all being tailored specifically to the events. We understand the event industry. And part of that's really event-specific templates, event-specific content. So it makes the process, one, a lot quicker for you to do, but also more topical in what you do for the event. So it's basically a full-service research platform that's tailored specifically events to get you really actionable insight a lot quicker than you would do with, say, a generic survey platform.